There's 5 things you must do in 2026 to become financially independent. And we're going to talk about all of them in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's get started.
Hi, I'm EJ, and if you've been following along with Make It Your Best Life, you know that we've been talking about how to get ready to be successful in your career, in being able to follow your dreams and make them a reality. Talking about mindset, talking about fears and doubts, all the things psychologically that stop us from becoming who we want to be, attaining the success that we want to attain. So just to take us to the next level now, we're going to assume for a second that a lot of you out there have been successful. You have a good job, you've been making money, and you started a business in some cases, and it's chugging along and you're making money, experiencing a degree of success, some more than others. So the next question is, what do I do to build wealth? What do I do to become financially independent so that I don't have to work for the man, supposedly, so to speak? That used to be a phrase back in the 70s and 80s, I guess it was. Probably still is today, but it was more so then. And the way you do that is how you handle your money. Because making it is one thing, how you disperse it for various things, and the priorities that you put on it, and how you make your money work for you is what really makes you wealthy. Too many people, and I'm going to say that I was one of them, you know, too many people, you experience success and you want to self-gratify yourself immediately, you know, and you want to buy the expensive toys and you want to buy the boats and things like that, like we have here at the marina. And I know it's hard to work so hard and then not get that gratification that you need to continue forward. Now, some gratification is okay, for sure, and you should. Every time I would make a big sale in my business, in real estate, or whatever business, I've had multiple businesses, so whatever, if I've done well, yeah, I would take my wife out to a fancy restaurant, you know, blow $300-400, you know, like it didn't matter because I just made a big sale. You know, and I want to share the excitement, the experience, etc. And that's good. You can do that. All right, not all the time, but you can do it. But what I'm really talking about is the bulk of your money. What are you going to do with it? You're going to leave it in a bank account at next to zero interest, 2%, whatever, or you're going to make it work for you to make a lot more money. And so one of the things you got to do, and I'm going to call this, before we even do our countdown, the first thing you have to do is take care of your health, because without that, nothing else matters. You're not going to be successful. And even if you are, you're not going to be able to enjoy it if your health is not what it should be. So that's number one. And if you've watched any of my videos, you see that I emphasize that, because it is very important. In fact, it's number one. It's number one. The thing you have to do is to open up a brokerage account and continually invest in that brokerage account to make yourself enough money so that you can move to the next step, which would be to buy some real estate. Because real estate is really the foundation of pretty much all wealth. At least it has been up until the time of the tech giants and what have you. And in that case, a lot of the tech giants have their wealth built in their stock. But for most people, that's not going to be the situation. You're going to be a plumber, electrician, somebody who's just got a good job working for a corporation. You might be a vice president. You might be the CEO. I don't know. But the point is, what you do with your money is what's really important. So you open up a brokerage account and you conservatively invest in good companies, such as your Apples, your Googles, your some of your banks. There's lots of very safe investments. None of them are foolproof. We've seen since the crash of 2008, major banks like Citibank, which I used to own at that time, as a matter of fact, and went from $54 a share down to, believe it or not, $1.10. I believe that was the number. And I wrote it all the way down until about $12. So any company can experience a loss. Now, Citibank's still in business. It's back up there, and people who hung on and didn't sell, they did recover most of their money. But that's what they call an outlier. Those things normally don't happen in the stock market. The stock market usually produces anywhere from 7 to 12% return every year. And lately, in the last, I'd say 4 years, I mean, I've been averaging 25% returns. And you can't get that anywhere. I mean, it's just not something that's attainable unless you take risk. Now, do I take crazy risk? No, I take risk in good companies. Now, Charlie Munger, who is Warren Buffett's partner in Berkshire Hathaway, once said that you gotta get your first $100,000 in order to create real wealth. And he's right. He's right. Once you get that $100,000 and you double it, now it's $200,000, and you double that $400,000, now it's $800,000. So it's something that will take effect and double over a period of 10 years, let's say. And looking at the long game, come the time that you're ready to retire, you can just continue to do the math, and you can see how you'll be a millionaire for sure, maybe multi-millionaire, all because you made the right decisions early on. Hopefully in your 20s, hopefully for sure in your 30s, and you can use that money to expand your wealth exponentially. So after you get your first $100,000, $200,000, now you've got money to invest in real estate. And real estate, although it's not liquid, having been in this business as an investor, as a broker, as somebody who has lived and breathed it all my life, I can tell you that I have never lost money on real estate. I'm saying that to you honestly. I have not lost money on real estate. I came close to it, but I've never lost money in real estate. Now, a lot of that comes from experience and knowing what to buy, where to buy, and what to do when things happen. But in general, there's just rules of thumb that you follow, and you'll do pretty well. So the leap from getting your first $200,000 to getting your first property is something that you need to take. Now, your first property, for those of you who are younger, needs to be your home. That's your first real estate investment that you should be looking at and working hard to get. Now, it's pretty easy, really, to get your first home. So I'm talking to you younger folk that with some of the programs they have out there, if you're a veteran, zero money down. Zero money down gets you into a home. Yes, you have to have a job, you have to have an income. That's true. But now you don't have the burden of the big down payment. FHA, the Federal Home Loan Association, you can come in with 3% down. Okay? So, depending upon where you live in the country, of course, real estate in the Northeast where I live is very, very expensive. Your average property, I guess, is about $500,000, something like that. Nationally, I believe it's $440,000, but there's other markets, and you may be in some of those markets, that you could still buy a house for $300,000, okay? And with 3% down, you're not talking about a lot of money. Pretty much it's attainable for everybody. And then you stop paying rent. You're now a homeowner. And from that, you're going to build equity. And you're going to build equity while you sleep, while you pay that mortgage every month. A portion of that is going to go to pay down your loan. Up front, there's a lot of interest to it, but as you continue to own it, more and more of that payment goes to pay your loan down. And the concept is that at the end of the term, let's say it's 30 years, your house is paid off. And all that equity that built over that 30 years is all yours. So that's the general concept. We're going to get into actual nuances of owning real estate and how to manage it and what to do and how to get your second property and things like that. But this is kind of like to give you a primer of what you need to do with your money to make it work for you. And now let's talk about you people who are working for corporate America. You can easily participate in this also. Now, a very important thing I'm going to say to you, and I would say this is the first thing you've got to do, and that is to pay yourself first. You heard me. Before you pay any bill, each month you pay yourself first. So if you're getting your check, whatever it is, $4,000, you take out 10% of that money and you put this in your investment account. And you do that religiously every pay period. And you will find that in not too long a time, you're going to have a lot of money saved and invested. And that investment, if you're in the right investments, of course, is going to have produced additional income and additional, it's going to grow in value and help you on your journey. I know a lot of people say, wait a minute, EJ, I can hardly pay my bills right now. And I understand that. But it's a discipline. It's a discipline, and guess what? You will find a way. If you're going out to dinners, don't go out to one dinner. Don't go out to one dinner. And it almost pays for that. There's other things you can cut. You have to have discipline and you have to have a commitment. As I've talked about in previous videos, you have to have a commitment to what your goals are and your dreams. It's not going to happen by chance or automatically. You need to do it. You need to, once you have the principles of how to get here, your roadmap to success, to make it your best life, which is the name of the channel and is what this is all about. Once you have that, you can, those principles, then you can put it almost on automatic because you're going to abide by those principles. And I'm telling you, you got to take 10% of your income every single month, and it has to go to you, and you pay yourself first before you pay anybody else, anybody. And it will happen automatically after a while. You won't even think about it, and you won't even miss it because it's gone. You're doing it automatically now. So those of you who are in corporate America, you have 401ks, and I'm asking you to take the maximum. Take the maximum because, and put it in that 401k, because your employer is going to match you. He's going to match your contribution up to a certain amount of money, and you have no idea how that can help you grow your retirement, tax deferred. It's the numbers are amazing. If you take it out to, you project it out to full retirement, it's just amazing. And here you have your employer helping you to do it. You cannot not do that. Now, you might say, well, if I'm putting 10% away and then I'm putting another 6% away, that's 16%, I can't afford that. Okay, you got a point. If you really can't afford it, after you've tried to cut everywhere you can so that you can afford it, then at least if you're a corporate citizen, then at least maximize your 401k. I would say to do that. It's pretty hot out there in the sun, I'll tell you. So I think I'm gonna stop and get a cold one before I talk any further. I mean, look at this, the beautiful, beautiful day it is out. Sun shining, everybody's on their boats. Having a good time. There's Rich, and then there's Mega Rich. I don't know how this owner of this boat started. You know, a lot of people look at rich people and they look in disgust and jealousy, you know. I never did that. I always wanted to know what's the story behind it. How did they get rich? What did they do to get rich, to be able to afford something so beautiful? And I ask that because I want to know how I could do it. You know, let's say a man owns this boat. He puts his pants on the same way I do every day. He may have more education or less education than me, I don't know. But yet, somehow, and I guess it started with a dream, he was able to achieve it. And here's the evidence. And we have a little looks like a cruise, a little booze cruise here. Little tiki tours, everybody's drinking on the boat. I love it. That's very cool, man. Look at that. I've seen these in Florida and other places. That's, I think I even went on once, I'm not sure. But it's really ingenious the way people think of things, various businesses, you know, and they're probably making money. And what that tells me, if they can do it, I can do it too. You can do it. You just have to have the desire and the fortitude and the commitment. Everything can be achieved with enough commitment to your dream, to your goals. Too many people give up. They just give up. You say, oh, this is too hard. But the ones that don't wind up achieving their goal, even though they weren't sure where they were going to or not. They just kept on moving forward. And that's kind of what each and every one of us has to do. Continue to move forward all the time, even though you're going to get roadblocks and detours. Continue to move forward, and you just may find success. Now, if you've liked this video, if it's given you any information that you found helpful, please like, subscribe to the channel. It really helps us. We're a new channel trying to impart information that will help you make it your best life. See you on the next one.
0